Thank you.
Sign in to address the board. Anybody want to sign in?
They love it.
No, he's got the answer.
I'm just calling Jen Mulner
Oh,
because she wanted to phone in for the meeting. You're on mute, okay? Yep. Okay, thanks.
It's not mute.
Mute before you cough.
It's too funny.
a regular meeting of the Delta County Commissioners is being held this date pursuant to the following call. In a letter to the Commissioners dated July 10th, 2025, and reading as follows. The Honorable Members of the Delta County Board of Commissioners, dear Commissioners, a regular meeting of the Delta County Board of Commissioners is scheduled for Tuesday, July 15th, 2025 at 5:15 p.m. in the conference room of the Delta County Service Center. Sincerely yours, Nancy Presrocki, Delta County Clerk. Please rise for a word of prayer. As we begin this meeting, we are thankful for our many blessings. We ask for guidance to help our commissioners make decisions in the best interests of the citizens of our county. And Lord, we pray for the safety of our military men and women and our first responders. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Commissioner Milner. Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Commissioner Vankenhoven.
Here.
And Commissioner Jensen.
Here.
Commissioner Melner is excused this evening, so I will be your chair for tonight's meeting. First order of business is special orders of business, approval of minutes from the previous meeting, county board minutes of 7/1/25. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved. Support.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson, support by Commissioner Jensen. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 6, we
Six.
have 6, approval of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion.
It looks like we have some additional items to add to the agenda. So we have a resignation of L. Castor, request for lump sum payout and to fill corrections position. So that would be item number 10 under new business. And then we have a resignation of T. Aker, a request to fill seasonal parks laborer position. That would be under new business, item 11. And then you had requested a item to be added that would have no action, but just discussion, and that is the opioid task force mini grants.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve as amended.
So moved. Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson, support by Commissioner Jensen. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, communications received and forwarded. I don't believe there were any. And reports of standing statutory special committees and others. I don't believe there were any. Public comment on agenda items. We have no one signed up, but you're more than welcome to take the podium, and you have 3 minutes to discuss anything on the agenda this evening. Is there any public comment on agenda items? Any public comment on agenda items?
And there's no remote public comment on agenda items.
Last call. Public comment on agenda items. That is now closed. Okay, committee administrators report. Ms. DeSalvo?
Thank you. The first thing I have is that the Fairgrounds Bathhouse project has now been approved and it's going out for bids. Dan Block, the project engineer with Dynamic Design, is going to be putting together the bid and posting them for us. He'll keep us informed of the process so that when the documents are together, we can post it on the county's website as well. He's also going to put it on the Builders Exchange. And once a bid is accepted, then we'll move forward with the administration part of the grant. There are currently 2 items listed on the Bid Corp website that the county has for sale. The website is bidcorp.com under Delta County for anyone interested in looking at those items. There's a set of 4 tires, and there's also a snow blower and lawnmower. The bids close on July 18th for the tires and July 21st for the mower and snow blower. The insurance retention fund and reimbursement, this year the county has a net distribution of $28,749. I've elected to have $20,000 of that placed into our retention fund, with the remaining $8,749 returned to the county for redistribution. The MIDC grant contract, the Michigan Indigent Defense Commission has sent notice that the first round of funding approvals have been decided. Delta County does have some minor adjustments to the grant proposal to make, and we're going to be resubmitting for their request before the deadline of August 29th. I've met with the lead defense attorney, James Mackey. We've begun to rectify the processes that were in question on the application. Attorney Mackey is willing to continue his role and is actively trying to recruit local attorneys to help us out with our criminal defense. And also some community thank yous that we have. A big thank you to 7 Acre Garden and Gifts for their generous donation of beautiful flowers to help brighten up our new ramp at Pioneer Trail Park. They look great. They're a great addition to our park. We also want to thank Henson Salines of Escanaba for their donation. They donated 3 brand new love seats and throw pillows on each one of them. So one of them is in our main park office, and then 2 of them are in one each in a cabin. And then also a quick update. I attended the Parks Commission meeting last week where it was thrown around the idea of applying for a booth at the UP State Fair next month in August for Delta County. We were approved through the Fair Authority to have a booth at the fair, so we're going to put one together and represent all different departments within the county, such as veterans, airport, so on. So we will now be back. We used to have a booth years ago at the fair, so we are going to be back again this coming August at the fair with Delta County information.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Entertain a motion to place this on file.
So moved.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson, support by Commissioner Williams. Any discussion? I just have one quick question, Administrator. Has there been any update regarding Attorney Graham?
I have not heard anything on Attorney Graham. I do have an update on getting the files, the county files from Attorney Burkhardt's office. There were 2 physical files that I did go to his office and retrieve. They're now back at the county in the administration office, but I have not heard anything on Attorney Graham.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion or questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. This time we'll seek any department updates. Is there any department heads who would like to present an update to us at this time? No? Okay, moving on. General orders of business, unfinished business. Number 1, FOIA appeal number 25-109, a closed session. So I would entertain a motion that we go into closed session pursuant to MCL 15.268(1H to consider attorney-client privileged material exempt from disclosure under the Freedom of Information Act, which is MCL 15.2431G.
So moved. Support. Roll call.
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Vangenhoven,
Yes.
and Jensen.
Yes.
So I went back online. Different shocked if I know that I'm not a very good one. I would be shocked. I would be shocked if I know that I'm not a real good electrician. Yeah. Yeah, doubts about this.
This call is no longer being
But-
recorded.
But I can figure out once. You know, when I looked at office, could have been the right one, unless I was some. Sure, that's the one. That, but it was like a number of eight. Pretty heavy to think with that. I think I was six. Yeah. It's heavy. Well, not bad. Can barely carry it. 25, as it was. Dropped it on my front porch. Boxes. Saturday, shoes. That's 50 feet, that's the end of me. What was that? See, that's, when I go to market. I made paper, yeah. Should be. I've seen your paper, I'm way over, I'm limited. Still waiting on it to come. I got some success. Not a good method, I mean, it's easy work for you. Anyway. On welding? Tried my, he tried my welder. That was pretty cool. Yeah. And it really doesn't really go. It doesn't, yeah, it doesn't, we're working on it. He tried extension cable, because it was over there in Loveland, so it's not very good that way. One thing I didn't say, I'm not sure that I. It's all been work. I have that in my garage. But I don't have breakers, you have to use those. Family, sometime off the breakers. Those heavy ones electrician to come over and put in a panel. I ran the wire.
Are we ready?
Live, are we good? Yeah, okay.
Motion to come out of closed session
No decisions were made?
where no decisions were made.
I'll support it.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson, a support by Commissioner Jensen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then we're moving on to unfinished business number 1B, decision. I'll entertain a motion. No?
Just a second.
I usually let Commissioner Williams handle the motions with FOIAs. She usually gets it pretty perfect.
Okay. I will make a motion that we uphold the denial and partial denial, that we uphold the partial denial. And I would like to note that the requester can submit a new FOIA request that limits some of the specific language in the original FOIA request that may lead to results that are more conducive to what this individual is looking for. So I will make the motion to uphold the partial denial because it does meet all of the requirements.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Williams, a support by Commissioner Johnson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to new business, number 1, payment of bills.
I've examined all claims presented and recommend payment of the following, and that the county clerk be directed to issue orders on the county treasurer to the claimants for the amounts allowed. We have a total report of claims of $661,307.82. We also have commissioner expenses of $2,120.70.
Move we pay our bills?
Support.
Roll call. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Jensen?
Yes.
And Van Genhoven.
Yes. Okay, new business number 2, Title III Proposed Projects RFP Awards. Administrator?
I had discussion with our emergency management director, Paul Geyer. He's also here, so if anybody does have any questions, he said he's willing to help out and answer those questions for you. Our Project 3 bids were received that we put out for RFP. They were opened. However, we do have a request from our emergency management director to actually re-bid that out, to modify the RFP to be more specific for what we're actually looking for, what the townships are looking for. And we have notified the vendors that have submitted bids on the RFP to let them know our intent to do that. And so that they can have the opportunity to rebid on that if they so choose to. And also, the request was made to leave that window of the RFP open longer to allow these vendors to get the correct information that they need to submit a more specific bid. So instead of it being, 2 weeks or 1 month, we're looking for 60 days for that to be open. So we're requesting that the board grant that so that we can redo the RFP, amend it to be more specific, and leave it open for longer to solicit those bids.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Geyer? Okay.
No. I would make a motion that we
Rebid the RFP.
rebid the Title III RFP and allow 60-day notice for bids to come in.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Williams, a support by Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 3, fiscal year 24-25 hazardous materials emergency preparedness grant.
You'll see in the board packet the grant application for 24-25.
I was kind of curious, and just for Mr. Geiger, 24 to 25, and we're in the latter half of that versus 25, 26, or is that how their windows work?
That's how their windows work.
Okay.
It's almost always a year behind.
Gotcha.
And it's based on projects that I'm working on this spring into summer and turn in for the fall, and then we get that grant award usually in about December. We apply for the grant in February, we do the work during the year, and then get the grant in December, but it's always a year post, so to speak.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a typo where all of a sudden it
Nope,
would get
it's-
kicked back or denied, so
That's correct.
thank you.
Yep.
Motion to authorize the signature.
I'll support.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson, support by Commissioner Jensen. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on, number 4, fiscal year 2026 local emergency management program work agreement. Administrator?
You'll see this agreement. This is something that the board has to look at and approve every year for our emergency management department. It basically outlines what's expected from each EM program throughout the state, and then it gives us instructions for how to report that back to the state.
Motion to approve.
Support.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Johnson, support by Commissioner Williams. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on, number 5, Secure Rural Schools Fiscal Year 2025 election.
Every year around this time, we usually get documentation from the forestry program, and it allows us to make an election for how we would like those monies to be spent for Title III and Title I for the townships in the county. A lot of times what we do is we split that up 80-20. So we allow 80% of those funds to be given to Title I, which is for our schools, for the townships, and then 20% to be given to Title III, which are E.M. Geyer's projects that he has with the townships. We hadn't received anything for last fiscal year and then for this fiscal year, so we dug into it, and I actually contacted, and you'll see in your board packet, her name is Tiffany Benna, and she's with the Forest Service, and she informed that Congress did not reauthorize Title III funds. So therefore, all of the funds through the forestry reimbursement got put into Title I. So I just wanted to update the board on that. If there's any questions, I do intend to present that to the townships during the Township Association meeting, just so that they're aware. Right now, we do have those funds in Title III for the projects that we have moving forward, but this is just for this coming fiscal year. We don't have any funds that are going to be coming into Title III for that.
Okay. So there's no action that needs to be taken.
There's no action. This is informative. Normally, it's something that Mr. Geyer would, inform the board of. We have this amount of funds that are coming into Title III for projects for the upcoming year, and then he plans with the townships for those projects, puts out the RFPs. So, yeah, we don't have that coming forward, and hopefully, they're awaiting Congress action to be able to put that back into Title III.
Would a resolution be more helpful to push it?
Always up to the board. It's always a possibility if you'd like to, put out a resolution, get with our representatives, push for that. We definitely can go that route.
Because I would like to see a resolution saying, hey, let's get this put through Congress fast.
I'll make a motion that Commissioner Johnson writes a resolution
support that.
You guys can't make me do anything. But I would like to direct administration to write that resolution.
There's already a motion on the floor. Okay, Chris?
I was just kidding.
Okay.
Sorry,
Same.
stepping out of line.
Are you
Excuse
making
me.
a motion?
Yes, I would like to
Okay.
make a motion to direct administration to write a resolution that says something way fancier than what I said.
Okay, I'll support that. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. Okay, moving on, number 6, zoning case number 6-25-PC. Looks like we,
Yeah.
Matt, you want to take it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can do that for us. So the zoning board approved Baldwin Township's request for rezoning that will help facilitate one of the DNR trust fund grants. They're actually enlarging their park area. The area in question they wanted rezoned is actually going back to what it previously was at historically.
Oh, so it was rural before it turned to commercial. Okay.
Correct. And so that was the basis for granting that. I would recommend that we go with the decision of the zoning board on that.
It was a unanimous support by the planning commission, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Move to approve.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion, but we'll go, any discussion?
Just a roll call, please.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on it? Okay,
No.
roll call, please.
Johnson.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Van Genhoven.
Yes,
Ann Jensen.
Yes.
thank you. Moving on, number 7, zoning case number 8-25-PC. Matt?
Again, this is a second case that was actually approved unanimously by the zoning board, and that was to actually change from rural residential to Lake Shore and River. And that's so that it'll split the one parcel down into the two smaller ones along the water.
Move approval.
I'll support. So we have a motion by Commissioner Johnson, support by myself. Any other discussion? Roll call on this one, please, Nancy?
Johnson.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Van Genhoven.
Yes.
Ann Jensen.
Yes.
All right, moving on to the topic of the evening, I think. Recommendation for essential air service contract. Administrator?
You'll see a letter here from our airport administrator, Ashley Young, with the recommendation from the Airport Advisory Board. We also do have members from the Airport Advisory Board here today, so if there are questions or comments that you are looking for from them, we can ask them to come up and speak as well.
Move to approve.
Support?
We have a motion by myself, support by Commissioner Johnson. Discussion.
You know, let me kick it off? All right. Could I call up either our board chair for our airport and/or our administrator? I got lots of questions.
Lots of questions.
Okay, so your recommendation is for public to hear.
So our recommendation is that we change from SkyWest to Denver Air. The bid from Denver Air was 12 flights, just like we're getting from SkyWest, from a 50-seat regional jet. They're giving us the option of Detroit, Minneapolis, and/or O'Hare. They have interline agreements with all 3 of the major airlines.
Brian, can you step forward a little bit so the people at home can hear you? Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought,
That's
I could
okay.
hear it coming through the speakers, I thought it was
I
close
just want to
enough.
make sure the people on YouTube can hear you.
Okay,
Yep.
do you want me to repeat that then?
Nope.
Okay. Turning another question though.
Well, sure. Anything else on history as far as the decision?
So, the board kind of felt that we've hit a plateau for growth with SkyWest through the years, you know, and you lived through it when you were part of the advisory board, that SkyWest wasn't giving us a stable, repeatable schedule to keep our flying public
coming in and out of here. And as we're trying to grow the airport, you know, the old saying goes, is definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting something different. So we're doing something different, expecting something different. And, you know, a couple of things that Denver has talked about, they'll be hiring a full-time person to be aircraft maintenance at our airport. We talked a little bit with them yesterday about the possibility of setting up an aircraft maintenance facility in our airport. We gotta take some measurements of the community hangar and see if their aircraft will fit. You know, and it just, going through the presentations, it felt like they were the best partner of the three of them.
Now, when we talk about maintenance, would this maintenance person be willing to do annuals also for our GA?
That we didn't ask,
Okay,
but we will ask that question because that's actually a good revenue path for them,
sure,
to help them put someone here if it's someone that can work on our GA community.
sure. And then what's the largest plane they have in their fleet?
An Embraer 145, which is, for anybody who's flown on one, they'd remember it. It's a small, it's a regional aircraft, but it's 2-1. So on the A side, which would be the driver's side of the airplane, if you will, there's only one seat. Was the comparable plane to the CRJ 200 that we used to get. However, it is a far more comfortable plane than the CRJ 200 was. Our other bidders, Air Wisconsin was coming in with the CRJ 200. And as everybody who's flying knows, SkyWest is coming in with the CRJ 550, which is a modified version of the larger seating aircraft, the CRJ 700.
Okay, sorry,
That's
Commissioner
okay,
Williams,
no,
if you want.
go ahead.
All right.
Finish it out.
yeah.
Yep.
So
Ask your
with,
questions and I'll
with
ask them.
with that being our largest aircraft, are we concerned about the terminal anymore as far as more seating area?
So the seating area in the terminal matches what their aircraft would be. One of the things that came out during the presentation is that SkyWest, in their agreement with Delta, doesn't have the flexibility to come in with a larger aircraft on a scheduled basis. Their agreement with Delta, if the market was to dictate a larger aircraft, Delta would have to step in and send a larger aircraft. SkyWest may operate it, but, you know, it would be on Delta instead of on SkyWest. So that actually played in to Denver Air's advantage because that took larger aircraft off the table for SkyWest, leveling
Okay.
the playing field, because then all three were talking about a 50-seat aircraft.
Sure. So then this board made the recommendation that our airport administrator become CETA certified. So are we worried about that? Or are we no longer?
So we got to discuss that at our next advisory board meeting. I know there's different feelings amongst the members of the advisory board. My personal feeling is it's still an inevitability. You know, we are going to have to do it at some point. Just, we have the flexibility to stretch out the timetable.
Sure.
Which is nice.
The best part with that, having that flexibility to stretch that out, it would rather have that done, and we know that's already out there in the works, than for the FAA to turn around and say in 60 to 90 days, you must be. So this gives a whole lot more time and flexibility to not just get the physical security parts in, but the training program that has to go with it.
So this board's no longer gonna hold our airport administrator to, like, hey, you must be CETA certified. I'm comfortable with it, I just wanna make sure
Okay,
that,
so what we had decided at the airport advisory board level was that, that with bringing in a new management team with Ms. Young and then whoever she hires as her assistant, that we wanted to give them 1.5 to 2 years to just get the basics under their belt, to have that consistency, to learn everything at the airport, ins and outs. And CITA is a long-term commitment. So to say that we're no longer interested in having her be CITA certified is not necessarily true. It's just the timeline in which we would have to be CITA certified can be elongated. you know, coming into fiscal year '25 and looking at the budget for the airport and also through the county, SIDA is an extremely high expense to have completed. And so I think that, you know, with not having to worry about it so condensed would benefit the county and the airport in the long run, but still have that, yes, that final goal. Yes, we want to expand.
So
We
what I
want-
see happening there is I see physical improvements that have already begun, probably being completed.
Okay.
And then, you know, because if you look at it from a work standpoint for Ashley and soon-to-be hired assistant, the work is training everybody that touches that airfield, which, you know, a lot of people would say, oh, yeah, there's only 27 or whatever it is GA tenants we have, but it's all of the FedEx people, all of the UPS people, all, for everybody that can touch our airfield, which becomes a number in the hundreds.
Yep.
You know, and that's a lot of work for our administrative you know, to train all those folks and get them ready.
I mean, when our former, and I don't mean to cut you off, I apologize, our former airport manager had themselves, their assistant, we had a temp person, you know, catching up on paperwork, and still the SIDA stuff was not, you know, being kept on track because it's such a process to keep up with just the day-to-day. And we want to ensure that our management team is in for the long haul, and so we don't want to inundate them with, you know, too much too soon. But it's still on the playing field, absolutely.
And if I remember correctly, there are parts of the equipment on the physical security part of it that we currently already have. So, and those were purchased previously as well. So those, and that goes back to like like Brian mentioned, that we have some of those, and those are those physical things that will start to continuously move forward to get us that much closer to it.
Sure, sure. I just would hate to see like an eval saying, hey, we wanted you to do this and you didn't get it done.
Oh,
So I don't want to
absolutely
see that be
not.
punitive.
No.
Okay,
Mm-mm. That's been discussed.
perfect. And then, always more. So there's Interline and there's CodeShare. Could you kind of let us know what Interline and CodeShare?
Okay, so I'll start off with co-chair.
Brian. Thank you.
So,
Just making sure.
so CodeShare is what's that? So SkyWest flies under a CodeShare. When you see the plane come in, sometimes it says Delta because they operate as Delta Connection for Delta. Sometimes the plane says SkyWest on the side. When the plane says SkyWest on the side, if you look at the system or look at the screen as you're boarding it, you'll see a SK number, which is a SkyWest flight number, and a DL, which is a Delta flight number. You know, if you're looking at a large, say you're in Detroit looking at a larger aircraft, you'll see KLM, you'll see Air Korea, you'll see flights that have 6 or 7 codes that are all the same flight. The advantage of the code share is you pull your phone out of your pocket and you manage that flight on the Delta app. Now, an interline is an agreement between airlines. It's not quite as encompassing, so you could still book the flight on one itinerary with multiple airlines. Your baggage all still goes. They do work together to make, you know, if there's an event of, hey, this flight got delayed, there's some coordination between the airlines to get you where you gotta be. But the big thing is like in the case of Denver Air, they have interlines with all three. They have interlines with Delta, American, and United. Typically, you don't see airlines getting code shares with 2 of the big 3. So like SkyWest, for example, code sharing with Delta, if you fly to Minneapolis and decide to jump onto a United plane, there's a chance you're going to get your bag and baggage claim and rechecking your bag to go.
Yeah, because it's not carrying through
Right.
until your final destination unless
Because-
you have that code
because-
share.
Because the big 3 airlines don't necessarily all have interline agreements with each other. You know, so there are situations where one of the big 3 won't give a bag to the other one.
What about like baggage fees? I've seen, or I saw that Denver Air is going to charge $15
So-
for a bag. Will I have to pay, let's say, United or American in Chicago?
So
Would I
the
have to
ba-
pay them also?
The baggage fare originates with the airline the bag is checked in. So if you're leaving here, it originates with Denver Air, and that's a $15 flight, you know, so say we end up going to Chicago and you're flying out on American. And American's got a $50 charge for that bag, which is about what Delta is for their first one if you don't have status. You'll pay it coming home to American, but you're gonna pay the 15 when you go out, flying out on Denver. Now, one thing that Denver told us yesterday is, you know, and this applies to me as a frequent flyer, traveling all over the place for work, I have status with Delta, my bag is free. If I identify that at check-in, Denver Air is gonna honor that.
What about miles as far as,
So Denver Air has their own mileage program that very shortly is gonna be redeemable on other airlines.
okay. So 1 for 1, or is it gonna be?
That detail they don't have worked out yet.
Okay, okay.
What does very soon mean?
What was that?
What is very soon?
They didn't give us a timeline.
They didn't.
I think they said in 26.
Did
Okay.
they? Okay.
Yeah,
I
it's in one of the
apologize. Was
proposals that says
in the
26.
In the proposal?
Yeah, it's in
Okay.
one of the presentations I sent.
And do I understand right that they're gonna overnight here?
Yes, and
Perfect.
they guaranteed that. And one of the things that we really liked about Denver Air is when we asked about schedule changes, which is a random upset generator with SkyWest, the answer we got is, why would we want to change the schedule? That's more work for us. You know, so we're gonna set the schedule, and the schedule's gonna be set until we as a local community ask them to change it.
Okay,
And it's basically up to us to set,
Mm-hmm.
from what I understand. And that's, of course, a benefit with having a frequent flyer and a travel agent on our board, you know.
And one of the other things that Denver is far more willing to do than our current airline is groups and charters. You know, so I'm gonna use an example, one of our board members is part of labor organization and he organizes training trips. Well, his groups are big enough that he'll just about fill Denver Air's smaller plane, which seats 30. And they'd be willing to take that as a charter flight to get those folks in and out without having to dance around and send them to Green Bay and stuff like that.
So it's sort of a chance to grow, but in a different way.
Yeah, so,
You know,
so
so-
the long and the short of it is, we're trying to grow employments, and we've reached a plateau with what we had. So we're going a different route, trying to grow in a different manner.
where do we sit as far as Denver Air's, like, size of community they service? Are we,
So,
Oh, go ahead.
full disclosure, we will be the biggest community they service by
Okay.
about, if I remember right, it's by about 5,000 boardings.
okay, okay. And they're confident and we're confident?
Yep.
Okay,
They're going to acquire a plane just for our market.
okay. And then I think my last question is, are they gonna be flying in heavy, or are they gonna be fueling up here?
Probably both.
Question.
Okay,
That's a really good
You know,
question.
that'll probably depend on, I can't remember if they're a customer of AEG. If they're not, that'll depend on the price we set on the fuel.
okay.
You know, if our fuel's competitive, they'll buy. If it's not, they won't. If they're a member of AEG's program, that'll tip the scales in our
Sure,
favor for fuel
sure.
sales.
Typically, airlines negotiate a fuel agreement
Okay,
with their operators.
okay,
Yeah, we have an agreement in place with SkyWest today.
okay, okay. I think that's it. I will,
Excellent.
yeah, I'll step down from the floor.
Thank you.
So I have a couple of questions. The marketing amount seems low to me, especially as a newcomer into the community. Was that talked
So-
about at all?
20,000 was the recommendation from the DOT. In the past, we've had, even SkyWest has spent more than that, more than what they put in the proposal in the past. Denver's trying to grow their presence in this area, so I'd expect the same behavior.
Okay.
The original bid presentation, the person said, you know, it's $20,000 for marketing, but they're easily accessible to do like, free fairs, free bags, you know, if we have community events, all we had to do is reach out and they would be willing to donate those type of things. If we had like a veteran who couldn't make appointments, who needed medical care, we could contact them and hop them on a Denver Air, possibly free of
And-
charge, things of that
And,
nature.
and that line item in the EAS bid is money that they give us to spend on marketing, so it is
Right.
not inclusive of the marketing they do themselves,
Themselves.
trying to grow boardings.
Okay, but obviously you're okay with it, so, all right. And the next question I have is the terms. The other two, Air Wisconsin and SkyWest, had in their language up to 3 years and up to 4 years, but in Denver Air, it is 4 years.
So, actually, Ashley and I last week talked to the gentleman from the DOT handling this. And one of the things that was said by one of the providers was, the DOT is asking for longer terms. When we asked the DOT about that, he said they're free to bid longer terms, but we didn't ask for them. So in cases that it makes sense to go a longer term, they'll go a longer term. In this case, we're asking for 2 years. And the guy from the DOT said that in all reality, if we ask for 2 years, we're getting 2 years.
So that, okay, and that answers another question I had in the initial language of the RFP. So even though we're asking for 2 years, and Denver came back saying, this is our proposal at 4 years, we're okay, because they obviously laid out year 1, year 2,
Yep.
year 3, year 4, so we're just taking year 2.
Yep.
Basically, okay, all right. And then another question was around the hub. So they have these 3 locations which could be a part of the destinations.
So the
Is it,
new,
is it going to be, do we know if it's going to be a mix of those 3, or are we choosing 1 or 2 out of there?
so the new hub, which is O'Hare, all 3 bidders talked about possibly going to O'Hare versus Detroit or Minneapolis. It's up to us. It's up to the community if we want to maintain Detroit and Minneapolis, or if we want to stay with Detroit with our overnight and then send our turn, which is our midday flight to O'Hare. We're free to do that, and they'll work with us on that, whatever we see is best for our flying community.
Yeah, and so that brings me to a question that I read in the proposal language, and then also just in a lot of the bids that came back, and that is this idea that they're shaping and developing this plan based on community input. Have we had that community input? I mean, have we talked with our community and asked them, what's more important to you, Detroit or Chicago?
So we haven't had recent conversations with the community, other than conversations I have with people in the terminal. But statistically, our numbers show, you know, like right now, we're Detroit and Minneapolis because they're the 2 Delta hubs. And even dating back to when we were tagged with Iron Mountain, the Escanaba area likes Detroit. And we
Right,
don't use Minneapolis very much, whereas if you go 45 minutes west Iron Mountain, it's the other way around. They go to Minneapolis and don't use Detroit very often.
Ms. Anderson, our vice chair, who's also a local travel agent, said that 2/3 of our flyers go to Detroit and the remaining third are Minneapolis. But
Right.
the issue that we've had with SkyWest in the past is that the Minneapolis times don't coordinate with getting out west. And so offering the Chicago hub, which also Marquette does. So Marquette goes Detroit and
Yeah, so out
Chicago.
of Marquette, Delta goes to Detroit and Minneapolis, and then American goes to Chicago.
Yeah, but the bonus for us is that we offer free parking. So, you know, we could get, you know, with the weather, with the better weather, and then with the free parking option, you know, we might be able to peg off a lot of, you know, people from Marquette coming down, you know, with this O'Hare option.
right, and I was just making sure that we, you know, that we are talking with and representing our constituents in what they want or need in their destination. So I wouldn't want to just say, hey, we're moving our destination to Chicago and everybody needs to go to Detroit.
So,
You know, because I'm
and the
sure there's a
truth
lot
is-
of Michigan business and people are working within Michigan. And so are they needing to get to Detroit?
It's not etched in stone either.
No.
Okay.
So, you know, we could, if we decide we're gonna start off and we're gonna keep what we have, which Denver is gonna fly into the B and C in Detroit, which is in the Delta building.
Right,
They fly into Minneapolis and the B gates, which you walk by all the Delta stuff to get to American and United in Minneapolis if you're from there, in there. You know, so if we start out there and we say, hey, you know, Minneapolis isn't working, let's try Chicago.
We
You know,
have
s-
that option.
we can make that change.
right, and that's,
Yeah, and this doesn't actually go into effect until January, so we could put something out for the community.
Yes.
yeah, and that's actually what I was looking at in the document from the DOT. It specifically talks about the preferences of the actual and potential users of air transportation, you know, and that we're including the views of the elected officials who are representing those users, like making sure that we are talking with our constituents to ensure that the destination is for them. You
So
know, that-
I've had people tell me when I've been on the flight, oh, you know, I'd kinda like to go to Chicago.
Yeah, and it says
then
they
I
can
kinda
do,
gnaw a little bit, because I don't like that airport, and I'd rather gnaw my arm off than fly through there. But, you know, but yeah, you're absolutely right, that we need to be,
yeah, and because they say in their proposal that it can be a combination or one, you know, if we want to just take Minneapolis out of it and, you know, have Chicago and Detroit and have a mix of those two, that's an option in their
Yep.
proposal, which I really liked. That's the whole reason why I said no to Air Wisconsin in my own mind, was because it's just Chicago.
Yeah.
And so I don't
Yeah.
know that that's
so.
going to
for
benefit
me-
our people.
For me personally, my hangups with Air Wisconsin was just Chicago. And for years, we had the CRJ 200 aircraft, and people don't like it.
Well,
It's
my-
almost as bad as a turboprop.
Yeah. My big problem with Air Wisconsin is they just laid off 500 people and they're, you know, continuing to lay people off. So I think there's a problem
One of the other
there, so.
things, if we looked at, like with going into O'Hare, when they looked at the total amount, employments with Detroit and Minneapolis, that actually is real close to being equal to what goes out of O'Hare.
Oh, you're talking
So,
connections.
for connections,
Connections,
correct, I'm
not
sorry, for,
employments,
no,
connections.
yep, I'm sorry,
So
connections.
there are actually more connections available out of Chicago than Detroit and Minneapolis together. The one thing I keep in mind is Chicago is a hub for both American and United, where in this part of the country, Delta has kind of split their hub between Detroit and Minneapolis.
Okay. Let me ask my one last question. And this is because it's a naivety of how the air transportation works, but there's this competition, completion factor. I think it's called completion factor. And they're at 98%. Is 1% a big deal? Because the others are at 99%. So I was like, what is this 98%?
You gotta look at it with the on-time numbers as
Is that,
well.
so completion factor
So
is your
completion means the
complete.
flight went.
Even
And,
if
and
it
it,
was delayed for
and it
days.
made its destination, it didn't end
Yeah.
up somewhere else, right?
If it shows up
That's
tomorrow
what I
and it was
read,
supposed to
yeah.
show up today, that's still a complete flight.
Right.
You know, where Denver has an excellent on-time record.
Okay,
One of the other things that impressed us, and it's a challenge we've had with SkyWest, is their pilot training. So Denver also operates cargo, and their cargo operations are on very similar aircraft to what they're flying their passenger operations. So all of their pilots are trained in-house. And, you know, they exceed the minimum requirements to get in the cockpit before they get in the cockpit of a plane with passengers on it. Whereas some of the other ones, you're getting someone fresh out and they're not landing because, oh, I don't have enough hours to land in this little bit of rain or whatever the case may be. You know, so we're
Okay.
getting a more seasoned pilot, which drives completion and on-time rates.
okay. Yeah, I'm good with this recommendation. I did do some research on these three different airlines and if there's any sort of news out there that we should be aware of. There is some news about Denver Air back in 2023. The other airlines, Air Wisconsin and SkyWest, have some very recent issues, which I think we probably maybe have all read about. But Air, Key Lime Air, which is the Denver's
Yep.
planes, or whatever, however.
Parent company.
Parent company, yeah. They did have some investigative stuff that came out in 2023, which I'll forward you the information
Okay.
that I found. Not too alarming, and it's not really recent, and there was an investigation and it was cleared, so I'm okay with that. But, you know, it's probably one of the cleaner of the three as far as news.
So, and this is, full disclosure, this is the second time Denver has bid EAS. They last bid us in 2020 for the 21, 22, and 23 year contract. That was a 3-year contract. And what tipped the scale back to SkyWest was a commitment that they proceeded to break in the first 8 months of the contract, which was an overnight through the
Yeah, I
duration
read
of the
that in,
contract.
yeah, read that.
Yeah.
And that was not one of my brightest moments when that, Pat, if I'd have been sitting next to Pat, Pat probably would have smacked me upside the head, because I went open loop on the guy from SkyWest.
Okay, okay. Thank you for answering my questions. I appreciate it.
Commissioner Johnson?
All right, thank you. In reference to Commissioner Williams' community feedback, we have in the past done surveys to our, kind of forced surveys. If you want to log on to our Wi-Fi, you have to kind of go through do our survey first. And so we could probably
We can absolutely do
start
that,
that up
yeah.
again. And that way we have the community aspect. And then I believe they're the highest bid, correct?
They are.
So how are we gonna justify to the Department of Transportation?
So that was one of the things that came up when Ashley and I were talking about the Department of Transportation, because last time around, when we selected SkyWest, the bids were SkyWest and somebody flying an 8-seat turboprop. Okay, I didn't really want to wind a rubber band before we fly. So our recommendation was we support SkyWest. It was 2 lines and it was done. One of the things that DOT kind of said was, if you're going with anybody other than the lowest cost option, you need to lay out all of the things that drove you to the decision you made and explain where the other bidders suffered a deficiency, which that's,
The letter.
yeah, so the letter that she sent, I sent the first draft to her this morning, and she made it a little more politically correct, kind of like you, Emily, do. And send it on to you guys.
I think that there's also, I'm sorry if I may,
No, you're
just, I think it's also important that, you know, Key Lime Air or Denver Air they're not embroiled in some major issues right now either. And so this could be one of the reasons why you don't choose the other two. Air Wisconsin, I mean, they're in massive layoffs, and they're trying to just do ESA at this point, and, you know, whether they're gonna succeed on that or not, who knows? I mean, they're very unstable right now. And then SkyWest, you know, they've got, 3 huge lawsuits against them right now? So I wouldn't wanna choose either of these.
And the truth is Denver is the up-and-comer in the EAS market right now. You know, for you,
It
SkyWest
seems
is
like
kind
that's
of a
what they are
stalwart.
focused on.
Yeah,
Like, that's
so-
their focus.
a couple years ago, Denver stepped in and took over Ironwood after the carrier that was there had some pretty substantial issues. Denver took over Muskegon. After, you know, and that was one that came in after someone else couldn't deliver. You know, so they have that record. And one of the other things that I saw with their fleet management, if you look at cycles per day, which is how many times you go up, how many times you go down in the plane, their planes are putting up around 3 times a day, where everybody else is north of 5, which comes into, they're taking care of their equipment, they're not running it till it breaks.
Okay.
And having a maintenance guy here is gonna be huge. You know, because we've had issues where SkyWest will have a mechanical, and hopefully the guys can come up from Menominee and fix it.
Sure, there's travel time in there
Yeah.
and it just delays everything.
And then I think my last question is, what is this gonna do for our current employment situation for Delta? Are the people out of a job and will Denver Air possibly pick them up, or what's happening with our people
So-
there?
So right now, the people on the ground, the Unified people, because they're Unified people, they're not actual SkyWest employees. Denver Air, the people here for them will be employees. And, they did say they will look at everybody that's there, but they're not, they wouldn't commit to wholesale hiring everybody, because in all reality, they may or may not need that many. But, they will look at who we have and the people that will be here, whether they be people that are there now or new people from the community, because they did say we hire from the community, we're not gonna fly in a bunch of new people to do it. Will be Denver Air employees.
We did mention Unify to them, and that these people have longstanding, jobs within our community, and we would like to see it. And I think his response, well, if it's not broke, why fix it, or
Yeah.
something of
Something to
that
that extent.
nature. Yeah.
You know,
So
cause there's folks on that, on the board.
yeah. So. And we can always rally for that. You know what I mean? As an airport advisory board, that
Absolutely.
they keep everybody on. That they.
And we probably will.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
I'm satisfied, thank you.
If you
I am
want,
too,
all right?
thank you.
Oh, good to go, yeah.
We
you,
appreciate
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you both.
Okay, I'll seek a motion, please.
So moved?
Support.
So, motion for what? To take
Oh, yeah.
to take their recommendation?
Recommendation.
Okay.
Did we already do that? No.
No.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
we did, didn't we?
We did
We
open
had
discussion.
Right, move to approve and support, correct?
I don't.
No,
we didn't.
you moved
Oh.
to allow them to speak.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 All right, sorry. Then my motion would be to go with the Airport Advisory Board's recommendation.
And I'll support.
Any other discussion? Can I get a roll call on this, please?
Sure. Johnson.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Van Genhoven.
Yes.
And Jensen.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay,
And we have a fair booth coming up, so we should advertise.
absolutely. Okay. And that's actually gonna be a great thing to get it out into the community, to reassure the community
Yeah.
about the changes.
Can I add one more point?
Sure.
It's not official until the DOT.
T approves it.
Which is
Yeah.
January, right?
No.
We'll know before then, we'll probably know yet in the third quarter of the year, so probably by the end of August, maybe as late as September.
And it would
Oh.
take
But
place.
I
Okay.
wanna advertise
January.
it
Yeah, yeah.
and stuff
I-
like that.
I
Oh,
got it.
that makes sense. Yes, thank you. Okay, thank you, Brian. All right, moving on, number 9, set committee of the whole date. Administrator?
Yes, I put this on the agenda because per my contract, we need to have a committee of the whole meeting to discuss goals, objectives from the commission to my position, to myself. And so my proposal is to recommend next Tuesday at 5:15 if the commission is available.
Next Tuesday, the 22nd,
Correct.
5:15.
think so.
That works for me.
John, does that work for you?
I'm looking right now.
Okay, just let me know.
That works for me as well.
Next Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
August.
July 22nd.
Yes,
Works for me too.
the 22nd
At-
at 5:15.
Yep,
Yep.
okay, cool. Okay, move to set the committee of the whole for Tuesday, July 22nd at 5:15 here in the Service Center boardroom.
Support.
Any other discussion?
And then I would just request if there's anything specific that the board would like me to bring to the meeting, just to let me know by this week so I can prepare that for you all.
By Friday?
Correct.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, moving on to our added items. Number 10, resignation of L. Castor, request for lump sum payout and to fill the corrections position.
I move we accept the resignation of El Castor and get the lump sum payout and post to fill the corrections position, as well as send them a letter as well.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Jensen, support by Commissioner Williams. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Number 11, resignation of T. Acher. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And request to fill seasonal parks laborer.
So moved?
Support.
We have a motion by Commissioner Johnson, support by Commissioner Williams. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes, and I just ask that that person also receive a thank you letter, please. Moving on to number 12, our last agenda item for the evening, opioid task force mini grant for discussion only. So at the last opioid task force meeting, it was recommended that we move forward with a mini grant option. This would be a yearly grant option up to $3,000, and the opioid task force is looking to allocate $15,000 annually towards these mini grant applications. The application would be a much simpler application than the larger RFPs that we put out for the opioid task force. And it's meant for more event type
Expenditures.
versus major projects. What we found with the grant applications from the last round is that many of them wanted to use it for like a one-time event where we were more looking to get into the community to spread. So we thought that the mini grant option would be, something to move forward with. So we had just put it on for discussion only. Was there anything you wanted to add, Commissioner Williams?
There was something I was just, this would be,
John's done with us.
okay. I think you actually covered it, but it basically was feedback from, the folks who were applying, like, this is just too big. Like, we don't need this big of a process, we have a really simple ask. We need $1,000 to do something, and there's no way for us to accommodate that. So this mini grant we would be able to accommodate those kinds of needs. So,
And they could apply throughout the year because we do still meet on a monthly basis. And they would be able to apply once per year.
I think it's a nice way to add versatility to what you already have, so, I mean.
Yeah.
And again, you're still gonna get the engagement and even that out, even if it's a one event, now you're able to encompass, well, at least 5 different one-time events versus one major project.
Yeah, and our IT, I believe, is working on a website for the opioid settlement funds, RFP informational, so that both the large grant application and then the mini grant application will be accessible through that as well.
And am I correct in assuming that this would be a little bit easier to monitor progress on the grant also? So like when you
Yeah.
write a $3,000 check, you know exactly where it's going and when it's
Yeah.
going, as opposed to going, yeah, we're just spending it.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Yep. So there's no action needed on that. We just wanted you to be aware that that was coming forward for our next board meeting. Okay? All right, moving on then. General public comment. General public comment. This is your time to take the podium, state your name, please, and you have 3 minutes to talk about anything you'd like.
Joe Kaplan, Ford River Township. I'm just wondering why there was such limited discussion about the FOIA. You go into closed session, you consider an attorney's opinion, and then you come out. Chris made her motion, added something onto that motion that sounded more like discussion. I'd just like to hear more discussion, background for people listening, of why this FOIA is upheld. As we all know, FOIA is a pro-disclosure, and if there's some coaching that needs to be done, I mean, I've been doing FOIA for, I counted up 36 years, and I've been a FOIA coordinator for 2. So having been on both sides of this aisle, I say when I fulfill FOIAs, I work with the people that are asking. So I don't end up denying something because they ask for a work agreement when we do contracts and vice versa. So I try to facilitate what the requester wants, because that's the intent of the law. So if there's some coaching that needs to be done that reduces the need for appeals, I would say go for it, because going to an appeal only to have someone go back and ask it in a little bit different manner and get what they want feels like a huge waste of everyone's time. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other general public comment?
We have one person on remote.
Okay, we do have one remote public comment. We'll play it this time.
Okay, I should turn my volume up.
Louis Bounds, reaching out to you again. I was wondering when you guys are planning, when we discussed this previously, that you were going to put it on the agenda to get passed. You, these two commissioners were
Oh, that's my problem. Sorry about that. Jeez, that was me.
in support of it, at least more probably. But anyway, look forward to lay that on, it'd be great. So we get this resolution passed. Well, you have that one. Elder's got it passed, as well as going to be Barriga County going to one here shortly. So, like to see it get passed as soon as possible, please. Thank you.
And what was that name, Louis?
Louis Valance. Vallance.
Is there any other general public comment? Last call? Okay, moving on to commissioners' comments. Let's start with Matt tonight. Let's mix it up.
Yeah, start with Matt. And I'll leave the other part. We're approaching the end, as far as getting the other budget portion put together. We'll be meeting with that shortly. Hopefully we can finalize that to get that to the administrator for the parks. It's been quite a few pieces in there. The fair, actually, we just finished with the third of our emergency management portions for it. Big kudos to all the individuals that were involved. And when I say all the individuals, that's everybody that's pretty much in emergency services, all your first responders, whether it's fire, medical, law enforcement, security, everybody has actually come together. And again, big kudos to Mr. Geyer for starting that process and pulling that together. This is something that we haven't had here for that venue. And, you know, unfortunately, it's part of the times we live in. And it's not just something that's man-made, but, you know, nature as well. So it's definitely a big move for us in a direction we haven't been as far as emergency preparedness.
Commissioner Johnson?
Oh, I'm fine, thanks.
I have a few things. I want to update the public on the Burkhart files. So we had asked for 6 files that were in a list of files that were to be destroyed. We received 2 of those 6. The other were allegedly destroyed, so I don't know necessarily what's up with those files, but they said that they were destroyed. I think that it's really important that we know that the county did not sign an acknowledgement of the record retention policy of Mr. Burkhart's firm, nor did the county get notification that the files were going to be destroyed. The county actually had to ask for them. Even though Mr. Burkhart had sent a letter to other municipalities like Ford River Township and Escanaba Township and so forth that he was retiring and that files would be destroyed. Apparently, the county didn't receive anything. I just don't understand that. And I'd like a better explanation from the firm about that. There's also, I asked for a document that detailed the files, when they were deleted, and who deleted them. And I was told that that documentation does not exist. Most importantly, there should be a document in these files that is called a waiver of conflict of interest. Mr. Burkhart put this waiver of conflict of interest together because he was representing both the county and the conservation district during the, putting together this 8-year parks agreement, MOU, with the conservation district. And because he was representing multiple parties, he had to have a waiver of conflict, because it's a conflict of interest to represent both parties on the same issue. That waiver of conflict does not exist in the county. They do not have it. Neither does the conservation district. And because that it doesn't exist, I then looked into the meeting minutes of both the county and the conservation district to see if that waiver was ever brought up, ever talked about, and ever signed. And it was never brought up in front of the commissioners or the conservation district board. So without that conflict of interest waiver, Mr. Burkhart has a conflict of interest. So I will be looking into this more. I will be trying to figure out what's going on with these documents through working with his firm directly. But I wanted the public to have an update on where we are with that. Secondly, I couldn't agree with Mr. Kaplan more. I think that it is in the best interests of the commission and the community when we come out of closed session regarding these kinds of discussions or these kinds of issues, that we provide the community with additional information just to help them to understand why we're making the decisions that we're making. I would suggest to the person who put this FOIA request together and was denied this FOIA, clearly this individual is looking for very specific things, some of which are body cam footage and video recordings. This individual should contact the sheriff's department or MSP for that type of request. So there certainly are ways in which the individual can potentially get the information they need. But that information does not exist inside of the prosecutor's office, so the denial was because those files do not exist in that office. But they may exist elsewhere, and I agree that the requester should be helped along the way if they can. It is certainly a pro-disclosure law, and we should work very hard to disclose our public information because they have the right to that information. So, thank you.
Okay, and for myself, I would just like to say that the opioid RFPs are up on our county website. We are accepting RFP applications until August 1st. And at our next meeting here, we will also be rolling out the mini grant applications. We look forward to, getting a great amount of response to those and doling out some more of our opioid settlement funds. At the last Escanaba City Council meeting, there are openings that were announced on the Planning Commission, the Historic District Committee, the Recreational Advisory Board, I believe, and Housing Commission. So if you're a City of Escanaba resident looking forward to participating in your local government, those are some options you can take. And also, there are 3 seats up for Escanaba City Council this year, and the deadline to have your petitions in to run for office is July 22nd. And that's all I have. Nancy?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Administrator?
No, thank you.
Okay. So moving on to our next portion, which would be our meeting schedule. We do have a committee of the whole scheduled Tuesday, the 22nd at 5:15 here in the Service Center Boardroom. We have a regular Board of Commissioners meeting on 8/5/25 at 5:15 here in the Service Center. A regular board meeting of Commissioners on 8/19/25 at 5:15 here in the Service Center, and a regular Board of Commissioners on 9/2/25 at 5:15 in the Service Center. We do have notices, 30 days of 30-day notice of appointments. We are still looking for a seat to be filled on the opioid task force and on our planning commission, which will have to be a Township Association member. So if you're interested in participating in either of those, please contact our administrator. And then I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll move that we adjourn.
Support.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.